Hey, remember that thing I gave you? Well, I want it back. Hey, remember that thing I did for you? I need a favor. Have you ever had someone remind you of a gift they gave you? Have you ever had someone give you something, then announce it publicly? In other words, have you ever received a gift with strings attached? Do you give with strings attached? Have you ever given something to someone and they did not know how to receive it, or they felt obligated to give you something back? They were like, oh, this is for me? Oh, it's a gift for me? Oh, I don't have anything for you. I didn't get you anything. I can't take this. I can't take this. No, I can't take that. I have to take it? Well, I'll pay you back, okay? I've been in that situation where people have given me things and I felt obligated to do something in return or give them something back because I was so used to there being strings attached. Have you ever been in that situation where you've had to really sell your gift? Where you've been like, this is for you. No, you don't have to pay me back. No, please take it. It's for you. No, really, you don't owe me anything. Please enjoy this. It's not a loan. It's not a favor. It was on my heart to give. It's because you asked, you said, I heard you say you wanted this, so here it is. I don't want anything from you. I don't expect anything from you. This is just because I like you. This is just because I love you. This is just because I want to give this to you. This is now yours. Here, it's a gift. No, it's a gift. Take it. No, it's a gift. Take it. Is giving really giving if there are strings attached? No, giving with strings attached is actually an oxymoron. Once you expect to receive something back for a gift, or once you expect to give something back for receiving a gift, it's no longer a gift. So I'm convinced that many of us don't know how to give without strings attached, and many of us don't know how to receive without expecting that there be strings attached. Let's break some definitions down real quickly so we're all on the same page. Let's start with the definition of gift. A gift is something that I would give you voluntarily without the expectation of compensation, for their own use, for someone else's benefit. If we give and someone isn't thankful, or they take what we give for granted, or they break it, or misuse it, or give it to someone else, and we get offended, we know our motives aren't right. I've been there. I've given precious, precious things. Whatever they do or do not do with that gift, or even to me, towards me, once I give them that gift, that's between them and God. If they misuse or abuse that gift, that's between them and God. If they gave that gift to someone else, they gave what they owned to someone else. I don't own that anymore. I don't have a string attached to that anymore. That is now theirs to do with what they will. So if I get offended, then my heart isn't right. I shouldn't even expect a thank you, because that means I gave it to you, and what I want for compensation is a thank you. A gift truly is me putting something else in your possession and then walking away. I no longer have an attachment to it, and I don't expect anything in return, free of restrictions, conditions, or obligations. Okay, let's break down strings attached. Listen to this. When you give something to someone with conditions or obligations to the recipient, putting that person in a position where the receiver is obligated not to refuse you if you ask him for a favor. I think a lot of us give, but our definition of give isn't actually give. It's favor, or it's loan, or it's exchange or transaction. Here's my definition of favor: to do something for someone expecting something in return. So I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do you this favor, and then later you can pay me back. If you ask someone, hey, can you do me a favor? And they do a favor for you, then you probably expect, I got you later, okay? I owe you one. I've been in situations, maybe you have too, where I've given and I thought it was a gift, or I've received and I thought it was a gift, and it was actually a transaction, loan or favor, and there was interest involved. I want to say more on that, but I don't need to. A loan is money lent or something lent at interest, usually at interest, something lent usually for the borrower's temporary use. To borrow something means to receive with the implied or expressed intention of returning the same or an equivalent. Are we giving, expecting something in return? Is this a transaction? Is this a business? Is this a business exchange? Are we friends? Or what are we doing here? To call on compensation for something that you supposedly gave is unfair to both parties, because it really, you entered into a contract, but the other person didn't. That contract was, hey, I'm going to help you move, and later on you're going to pay me back. You don't know you're going to pay me back, and I'm not telling you you're going to pay me back, and I'm not telling you you need to pay me back, and I'm expecting you to pay me back, but I expect you to pay me back, so I'm going to help you. Okay? All right, I'm going to call you in 2 years. Okay, bye. So there's a list of ways we say we're giving, but we really aren't. It's not the true definition of giving. Some of those ways are obvious, some are not. Volunteering. So I have volunteered often over the years, and also overseen a lot of volunteering and taught on volunteering. I had to check my own heart. When I give of my time, my help, my work, my talents, my gifts, my abilities in a volunteer situation, I shouldn't expect anything in return. I am giving. It's free will giving. Now, if I was doing a favor, I should say that. Oh, you need help? Well, I'll do this for you, but I'm going to need this. That should be communicated. But volunteering, we should not expect or even demand anything in return. So this is kind of funny. This is another way that we give, and we often expect something in return. Especially, this happens a lot to women, actually. Yeah, when we give compliments. We'll compliment someone and expect something in return, even if it's just a thank you, okay? So even that, like if we really want to go deep, if I compliment you and you don't thank me, will I be offended? Well, you should say thank you. I just complimented you. Well, I didn't actually give you that compliment then. It was a loan, it was a favor, an exchange, a transaction. I'm gonna give you this verbally, and I want something back. That actually goes over into the definition of flattery. The difference between compliment and flattery is usually, I want something back. It's sometimes a form of manipulation. Compliment is truly a gift. It's for their benefit, and it's sincere. Flattery has an ulterior motive to it. Another area where we should be giving is apologies. Okay, so this is interesting. So when I give an apology, again, if I get nothing in return, it should be okay with me. If my apology isn't sincere, if it's not for you, then I might be hurt, I might be offended if you don't respond in kind, or you don't respond with a thank you or an appreciation. So an apology should also be a gift. Generally speaking, when people give, there really are conditions, so it is not truly giving. I'm going to give this to you if, and here's the kicker. When we do give and there are conditions, when it is actually a loan or a favor, an exchange, a transaction, those conditions aren't usually communicated. We think them and we expect them, so when it comes back around to expecting something in return, that compensation, it can really throw relationships for a loop. Okay, here's a touchy one. Raising children. Okay, don't throw stones at me. I'm not a mother. I'm a spiritual mother, but I haven't birthed any children. But it's so interesting to me when we expect from our children that they pay us back for something that we're supposed to be giving them the gift of discipleship and mentorship and guidance. And we are to do that because it's our obligation, it's our responsibility, and it's our privilege, right? And yes, the ultimate, the ideal thing should be that we take care of our parents. We take care of our parents, especially when they get older. But it shouldn't be to where I am putting a guilt trip on you because I'm your parent. I'm giving you the gift of life, and I'm raising you, and you owe me. That is a heavy burden to put on children, and even as they get to be adults. Romans 13:8. Owe nothing to anyone except to love and seek the best for one another. I know that's a touchy subject, but when parents put that guilt trip on children, I think the whole your life was a gift thing is revoked. Actually, I gave you a favor. Your life was a loan. This was a transaction. I gave you life, I raised you, and I let you be born and grow up in my home, and you owe me. Like, that's a big one. Should I delete that? Should I edit that out? I'm gonna keep that in. So the whole giving with strings attached to that is, it's often a control tactic. A lot of people give, and it's a form of manipulation. Why do we give with strings attached? Like, why? It's such a common thing, right? We call it giving, and it's not. So the question is, do you give well? Do you receive well? It's totally possible for us not to have experienced true and sincere giving and still learn how to do it. How do I give well? One way is that something I did a few years back is I checked myself to see if I was giving out of guilt or obligation, and I was feeling like I was pressured into giving. Of course, I had to pray about it and I had to study it out, and I needed to make sure that I was doing this. Let each one give thoughtfully and with purpose, just as he has decided in his heart, not grudgingly or under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver and delights in the one whose heart is in his gift. If my heart is not in my gift, and I'm actually like struggling to give, or I'm having second thoughts, or I have an attachment to that gift, then what I started to practice years and years ago is, okay, don't give until I'm doing it cheerfully, I'm doing it willingly, and I'm doing it with no ulterior motive. I am not attached, and I am no longer the possessor in any form of that gift. I didn't want to give under compulsion or guilt or pressure or obligation. I really wanted to give, and I wanted that joy of giving just for the mere fact that someone else was going to be blessed by that. And inherently, as Christians, when we sow something, we reap something, but that is not my focus. My focus should be to fully and sincerely give because of the benefit for that person or persons. So I had to ask myself years ago, do I think about, or am I thinking about that gift afterwards? If so, that's an attachment. If I'm thinking about that gift or regretting that gift, or thinking, oh, I gave too much money or time or effort or whatever, that's an attachment. That's a string. So I had to get to the point to where I didn't give if I felt that, or I only gave when I didn't feel it. But there's a whole nother side to that. Sacrificial giving. So a sacrifice is to give something that costs you something. And so there were times when I would give, and it was without a string. There were times when I would say, no, I'm not going to give because I wouldn't cheerfully and willingly do this. But then there were times where I felt like in my spirit, I believed I was supposed to give, and I wanted to give, but I had an attachment. So I just had to adjust myself. I had to turn a switch and say, I'm going to give a sacrificial gift. And a sacrificial gift is by choice. So I have to choose when to give a sacrificial gift. That shouldn't be under compulsion or obligation or guilt or pressure either. I'm going to choose to give a sacrificial gift. It's going to cost me something. And so my joy is in that sacrifice. Because again, I'm making a sacrifice for someone else's sake. So it could be giving or selling your property in order to share or provide for others. That's Acts 2:45. It could be giving just to bless or make someone happy. Just that. I mean, that's a common thing with parents. You are sacrificial givers, sacrificial providers. You're loving them sacrificially. It's costing you something just to make them happy. Living on or having less so that others with nothing or little can have something or more, that's sacrificial giving. Giving something you like or want and giving it joyfully because of someone else's joy, is sacrificial giving. So it may be where someone needs something I have and I give it to them and I don't have it anymore, you know? And I have to not only be okay with that, but that has to be something that's joyful for me. I have to find joy in that. So I have to make that choice and count the cost. Like, is the cost of giving this, is that cost too much? Or will I be able to give this without a string, or will I be able to give this sacrificially, be like, oh, that felt good for it to cost me something, because I'm not putting myself first, I'm putting others before myself. That's an unbelievable feeling. Another way to check ourselves is to see if we're conscious or unconscious manipulators, if it is a control tactic when we give. And that's a personal thing. You have to really examine yourself and check that out. Ask God to help you. Ask God to help you to give like He does, to give willingly and cheerfully. Meditate on these scriptures, but ask Him for a heart of giving. And really, the heart of giving is His heart, but it's under the umbrella of love. And love is unconditional. And love has no fear in it. And under the umbrella of fear are words like manipulation and control, etc. So you have to ask yourself, you know, am I loving this person? And love isn't going to expect love in return. Love is a gift in itself. Ask yourself if you're giving for recognition. Are you trying to give in order to put it on social media? In order to hashtag I gave today? I mean, that's a great question. When you volunteer at the food bank or wherever, is it for recognition? Is it so that some man or woman thinks that you are so amazing? Or, you know, just seriously be honest with yourself and ask if it's for recognition or a pat on the back. There's a scripture that talks about giving privately. When we give and we announce it, be very careful not to do your good deeds publicly, to be seen by men. Scripturally, when you read the word men, in many cases, in most cases, it actually means humans, humankind. So whenever you give to the poor and do acts of kindness, do not blow a trumpet before you to advertise it. Ugh! As the hypocrites do, like actors acting out a role, acting out the role of a giver. I'm not reading that, this is just me. We act out the role of giver often, and we're not actually giving for the benefit of others. We're giving to benefit ourselves, so that they may be honored and recognized and praised by men, by others. So that's a huge one. It's very common for us to see people give and blow their trumpets, isn't it? Yeah. What does it mean to receive? To come into possession of, to permit to enter, to welcome something. And there's another biblical definition that means to take something out of someone else's hand and take it as yours. How and why should I receive well? Part of my selfishness was not receiving from them who was trying to give. I was putting myself first, my pride first. I couldn't receive from them. And it is a blessing to them. If I allow you to give to me, I'm actually also giving to you. I'm giving you something. If you long to cheerfully and willingly sow something into your life, into my life, and I don't allow you to do it, I'm taking away your gift also. And then let's talk about scripturally, every time you give, you're sowing a seed. If I refuse that gift, I'm not allowing you to sow a seed that you would reap later. I'm actually sometimes uprooting it with receiving it, but belittling it or not receiving it well. Or if I refuse it, I'm not allowing that seed to even be planted spiritually and then ultimately naturally. So just think about that. Oh, okay, I'm not going to receive from you, so I'm actually stealing your harvest for later. Woo! Another way to receive well is just to be humble, just to not be prideful. A lot of times we don't want to receive because, let's say, it's on someone's heart to give me money. And whether I need money or not, let's say I don't want people to think I even need money. So, oh, no, I don't need that. No. I mean, that's pride. And again, you're stealing their harvest, and you're stealing their joy, and you're stealing their gift. You're taking the gift away that they could have, the gift of giving you something. It benefits the giver even more when I receive wholeheartedly. Like, have you ever given something to someone and they didn't receive it well, and it was a bummer? You know, you can get over it, but you're giving it for their joy also. You know? So if I'm like, thanks, I've done that and ruined it. I want to give them that joy, even though they may not be expecting it, or they're not giving for that reason. I want them to receive that. So I had to train myself to say thank you immediately and really enjoy and receive that gift, the thought that went into it, the heart that went into it, that they took the time and thought about me and gave me something, big or small, it doesn't matter. That they gave me a gift, to be thankful to them and to be thankful to God that they gifted me with anything is a gift to them. So I end with this. Do you give with strings attached? And do you receive expecting strings to be attached? If so, ask God to help you to both be a sincere, cheerful, willing giver and a thankful, guilt-free receiver.